happy to see all these beautiful faces on a bright and early Saturday morning too. So good job everyone for coming. I've been practicing this Buddhism all my life, and I actually see a couple of people here as well who've been practicing all their life. But there's a lot to cover in Buddhism. It's such a rich religion, right? There's so much, so I'm not going to cover everything. This is just a high-level overview of Buddhism. So first of all, the SGI, or Soka Gakkai International, is an organization with volunteer Buddhist leaders in over 192 countries. But fun fact, there's actually 196 countries, so that's actually quite outstanding. Official countries, right? And personally, I've been fortunate enough to practice in quite a few countries, such as like Hong Kong, South Korea, Denmark, Spain, etc. So first, major point is that Nichiren Daishonin was a 13th century monk who studied all of Siddhartha or Shakyamuni's teachings and chose the Lotus Sutra, which is the final one, as the supreme teaching. And why he did this is because it taught that all people basically are exactly the same and can become happy in this lifetime no matter what. So no matter what they look like, their age, race, religion, whatever, it doesn't matter, all people can become happy in this lifetime. He also emphasized that people without exception possess a Buddha nature and are inherently worthy of respect. So that means that we also, as individuals, have to fundamentally believe and recognize our own inherent value as human beings. And so actually it is and was a very revolutionary teaching that's very open-minded and includes like a lot of diversity and inclusion, which is a big topic right now. So second, let's fast forward to the 20th century when the first president, Makiguchi, and his disciple Toda created this Buddhist organization based on Nichiren's teachings, as well as it was originally founded as an educational society that taught education and openness for all, which wasn't a thing in Japan at that time. And then third, the president of the Soka Gakkai, current president, is Daisaku Ikeda. He serves actually as a really great example of actualizing the limitless potential that exists within each person's life. He has dedicated his life to spreading a message of peace based on the dignity of human life through countless meetings with like amazing world leaders like Rosa Parks, Nelson Mandela, Mikhail Gorbachev, Orlando Bloom, and he has also received honorary doctorates from over 300 universities across the world. I've gotten like 2 in my life, right? So that's pretty good. And his philosophy of peace can also be summed up as when we change, the world changes. The key to all change is in our inner transformation, a change of our hearts and minds. This is human revolution. So thanks to the incredible work of all these predecessors, we are now practicing Buddhism on a daily basis in our own homes and the homes of other members. So fourth, there are actually 3 pillars to our practice. One is faith. Oh, actually, first, so there's 3 pillars, and there are sometimes, the analogy is that it's similar to a stool. So you need 3 legs to have a really solid foundation at least, right, the bare minimum. So number 1 is faith, and faith really is about fundamental belief in the power of Nam-myoho-renge-kyo and our inherent Buddha nature, a state of life characterized by limitless courage, wisdom, and compassion. Second is practice, and this means chanting Nam-myoho-renge-kyo on a daily basis. Simply put, Nam-myoho-renge-kyo is actually the name of this potential or Buddha nature within our lives. So to chant Nam-myoho-renge-kyo then is to call forth our Buddha nature. And Nam-myoho-renge-kyo really is a declaration of the inherent dignity and power within the lives of all people. So again, it's really emphasizing the fact that we are all inherent Buddhas just at the core. And finally, practice also means like practicing for yourself and for others, because it's not just about practicing for yourself, right? You won't go anywhere, you won't grow anywhere. It's a community, right? We really need to help each other. And also just by attending this meeting, you've already made a really great positive cause for your life. So finally, the 3rd pillar is study, which is also very critical, because without study, we can't really understand the depth of this Buddhist practice, because it's, you know, thousands of centuries old. So there's a lot of literature and research and understanding that needs to come with our own practice, so we understand it at the fundamental level, so we can encourage others as well. And now to the 5th point, the scroll that we chant to is actually called the Gohonzon, which we saw earlier, and it states actually Nam-myoho-renge-kyo Nichiren down the center. Oh, she's gonna open it, thank you. But there's actually quite a lot of information stated on it, and I'm not going to go into detail, but everything you can find online. If you're actually interested in everything that's listed, you can find it online on the SGI website in detail. But it's also important, I think the most important point is really to note that while it is physically outside of ourselves, it's actually not meant to be something that is like, it's supposed to serve as a reflection of our own lives. It's not like something we pray to, like, oh, please God, like, give me this. No, it's like, I want to do this. I absolutely have to transform this. Like, I am strong. I'm, independent. I have to do X, Y, and Z to like fulfill my mission in life and help others. So now, and really quickly with why I practice. Personally, I've experienced more health obstacles than the average 30-year-old. I would even venture to say that I'm in the top 10%, probably. But I don't know, some other people here obviously have gone through a lot of health obstacles, or their family, or whatever. It's not to say, but anyways, I've, through these intense challenges, I've actually had to rely entirely on chanting Nam-myoho-renge-kyo to make positive long-term changes in my life. So actually at the age of 14, I started having very severe chronic asthma attacks for about 2 years. They would last about 2 weeks in length, and they were incredibly intense and excruciating. I could barely smile, for example, because if you don't have enough breath or energy in your life, you just can't, you can barely walk, you can barely smile. I lost a lot of weight too because I just couldn't eat, I didn't have the appetite. I was incredibly sick, I was very, very sick. And so at 14, I actually started chanting about 7 hours a day sometimes, on days especially when I couldn't go to school because I just didn't have the energy. But surprisingly, like through all this chanting, my mom also chanted 24 hours on multiple occasions for me to overcome and beat it. And then on multiple occasions, I just couldn't go to the school, right? So I had to, I don't know how, but for some reason I still also got all A's, which is really surprising. We went to the same high school. It wasn't actually quite Danielle, Douglas, and it wasn't that easy, right, of a high school. But very, very fortunate, I think, because I was chanting so much, right?